Who are you meeting with, and what thus far has been the response to this pay package that could see Elon paid as much as $1 trillion, Robyn?
Well, thank you for having me today. Yes, as part of our annual shareholder meeting, I meet with the top investors in Tesla on the institutional side, and obviously also talk to retail investors through forums like this morning to encourage everybody to vote, but also to answer any questions that they have. From a board perspective, we really like to engage with our shareholders, understand their questions, their concerns, their optimism for the future. And so it's a really important part of the process we go through on a quarterly basis, but also with the proxy on an annual basis as well.
So the initial feedback, is it one of optimism around the pay package? We've heard from Glass Lewis, from ISS, which have said they're not in agreement with the way in which the pay package is thus formed. The key concern seems to be the sheer amount of money going to Elon Musk, if indeed he achieves all of those key milestones. But for you, it's about, and for Elon, influence, it seems like. So how are you managing to discuss that with the investors, institutional and retail?
Yeah, so firstly, it is a performance package. So he gets nothing if he doesn't perform against the pretty audacious milestones that are part of the performance criteria that's been outlined by the board in the performance package. So I think rather than compensation, it's actually about the performance and the goals that we have for the company as we move forward. And so for me, it really is about making sure that investors understand that they actually get paid if he hits the milestone before he will. But to your point, it is about voting influence. Elon's been very public, including on last week's earnings call, about the fact that it's around the voting influence that he could have in future shareholder meetings, as opposed to the economic interests of the shares that he would get as part of the performance plan.
Robyn, good morning from Washington, D.C. You've acknowledged that there is a very real risk that Elon leaves if the vote is a no. The question we get most often from shareholders to you is, what's the plan B? Either is there a plan B as a different person stepping up, or have you discussed with Elon the idea that it will result in a no vote and that you can use some kind of bridging mechanism, another interim pay award, for example?
Well, he's been quite public in terms of the implications of a no vote being on his leadership, as well as obviously on the performance plan itself. And so from our perspective as a board, we obviously take our fiduciary responsibilities really seriously to all shareholders, and having a succession plan, those types of things are things we've discussed on an ongoing basis, particularly, if something untoward were to happen. So from our perspective, succession planning is an important part, and so much so that we've actually baked in an orderly succession plan, a plan for a plan, if you like, as part of this performance plan. So the last two tranches of the performance plan are unlocked by having a robust performance plan succession plan that Elon would be part of.
If Elon Musk walks away from Tesla on November 6th or 7th because of a no vote, is there a contingency where there is an individual already within Tesla or an individual outside of Tesla that is lined up as a near-term option?
Yeah, so from our perspective, the most important thing at this point in time is making sure that we're explaining all of the items on the shareholder agenda for the annual shareholder meeting, making sure that institutional investors, retail investors have their questions answered. That's our most important thing right at this point. And we are only...
Well, Robyn, that is their question. Who's the backup plan is the question that they're asking you.
Well, there is no other person that is Elon. We think that he is the right leader for the company over this next decade and delivering the plan and the opportunities ahead of us. So it's about how do we create the most value for the company and for our shareholders over this next period of time. And he is the right leader for us over this next decade.
Can you give me a sense of probability? If the vote is no, what probability Elon walks?
So right at this point in time, it's too early to actually make a call on the outcome. Most investors wait to the last minute to vote. So we're still early in that cycle, which is one of the reasons why I'm in New York to meet with our institutional investors. And we'll get a better sense, as the votes come in. And some institutions are more public than others in terms of how they're going to vote. So yesterday there was a public announcement by the pension fund in Florida. And so other investors will start to make their votes public as well.
But if it's no, the probability that Elon goes, 100%?
Well, time will tell, but he's been very, very public in terms of, it would be more of a say on his leadership over this period of time, not just about the performance plan itself in terms of a no vote. Yeah.
Robyn, you've been generous with your time. We've already spoken with you in September at length about the goals that you've set for Elon Musk. But one of the things that came out of that from, again, the shareholder base is why are the energy products not as strictly mandated to Elon? When you consider the earnings that just posted, that was a growth driver, right? It's such a key part of Elon Musk's master plan part 4 and this abundance that he's going after. So why didn't you include energy products as a stated goal?
Yeah, so there are many different goals that we looked at. Energy is an important part of the Tesla product lineup today and in the future. And you can see the impact that energy is having not only on the results, but also on the transition to sustainable energy longer term. So it is embedded in the plan. The EBITDA goals that we have as a company, you can't get there without a robust energy outcome. And so, again, if you look at the results of last week, energy contributed very significantly. And to get to $400 billion of adjusted EBITDA is a monumental task for anybody. No one out there, at least to my knowledge, is at that sort of level. And so even the first EBITDA goals at $50 billion is nearly 3 times our highest EBITDA goals that we've had. So from our perspective, it is absolutely embedded in the goals. To your point, it's not a specific line item in terms of the revenue or the units or the kilowatts of energy or megawatts of energy that are out there, but it is implicit in the plans. And the master plan 4, talks about that as well in terms of getting to sustainable abundance.
Robyn, has the special committee and the advisors that you took on discussed the use of interim awards in the event of a no vote and how you might replicate what you did already?
Well, there's an important other measure on the board as well, proposal in terms of increasing the share pool that we have, firstly for our employees. As you know, we're in a talent war at the moment, particularly around AI talent, and adding to the employee reserve as part A of that to actually increase the amount of equity that we have for our employee program. But secondarily, we've also asked shareholders to add to the pool in the event that we need to award an amount to Elon to compensate for the 2018 plan, because as you know, we put an interim award for roughly 1/3 of what he earned under the 2018 plan, given the appeal that is ongoing in Delaware at the moment. So So we have not ruled that out. The special committee was charged with looking at all matters compensation-wise. As you're aware, in August we did actually award an interim award, which does have a 2-year vesting period and is forfeited if we win the appeal in Delaware for the 2018 compensation program.
It does seem then to be about money. And I'm interested as to how you continue to... You've made very clear it's about influence as well. Some of the feedback has been just a gargantuan amount that could go to Elon in terms of monetary value. But then others are worried about the dilution to other shareholders. How was it in just no way possible to give him more voting rights without the $1 trillion mega money bonus, it feels like?
Yeah, I mean, we looked at many different instruments to be able to award equity that had voting rights versus the economic value. And it's just not possible once a company has gone public to introduce a special class of voting shares. Other companies have that. If you look at some of the tech companies, they have 2 classes and founder shares, if you like, or special voting rights exist. But for Tesla, that wasn't implemented at the time that we actually went public, and therefore we weren't able to use that type of instrument. But what we were able to do was to bifurcate the voting rights versus the economic rights. And so under the plan, all the awards have voting rights that are earned first, and then the economic rights happen, 7.5 years later in the first instance, or 10 years later. So it really isn't about the economic or monetary value, it's more about the voting rights. And if there was a different mechanism that was available to us, we may have used that. But we had many experts look at it over an extensive period of time, and we were not able to come up with something that would enable us to do that.
We are speaking with Robyn Denholm, chairperson of the Tesla board of directors, of course. And Robyn, what's so interesting is Elon's made very clear why he wants influence. And in the earnings call, he was saying he's worried about this army of robots that he is creating and then not having the influence if something went untoward. His concerns about AI have been well documented. But why is he the right person to have influence, to have more than 25% voting control?
I think there's not another person on the planet that has the skill set that Elon has, both in terms of the manufacturing prowess that we've developed and he has developed over many years, but also around AI. That confluence of those technology skills, I think there are very few people that have that. And therefore, obviously, looking at the risks associated with new technologies and risks that haven't even yet emerged around those technologies, I think he is the right person, not only to take advantage of the opportunities for the company ahead of us, but also to make sure that there are not the pitfalls of new technologies that could happen.
Right.
Obviously, the board plays a role in that as well, and as from a governance perspective, looking at the types of evil that could be done with different types of technology is part of our purview as well. And it is why we have such a phenomenal board with the skill sets that we have, both from a technology perspective, but also from a governance perspective. And so we play a role, but obviously the CEO, the management team play an even bigger role on safeguarding companies, and safety is a huge priority of ours as a company. And so when you're developing new technologies that other people have not yet developed globally, it is important to make sure that you have the right framework in place.
Robyn, final question from the shareholder base is, did the situation around the 2018 package, Chancery, Delaware situation, mean that the board had to hold off on authorising any other investments or big strategic shifts?
No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, we take into account a whole bunch of factors as we're working through strategy and different alternatives the company has ahead of us. But clearly, the Delaware situation was disruptive, but not disruptive from a strategic point of view. making sure that we have an eye on the future and the evolution of the company over the long term, I think is something the board is focused on, but also something the management team is focused on.